Indie pop is a very enjoyable genre to listen to, and today we're going to produce a song like Chappell Roan or like Phoebe Bridgers, step by step. I'm Kirsten, you're watching Cynthia Song, and if you like this video, make sure to subscribe, to like, and comment. I always like to start an indie pop song with either guitars or piano. In this case, I found a guitar loop. Actually, I think it was on Splice. And I processed it just a tiny bit. First, I put on an equalizer to dip some of the lows. I cut some frequencies that I did not like. And I pushed some of the highs. And after that is an equalizer that has an automation. So basically it cuts some of the lows and then let's go. It doesn't do much, but it's some kind of automation, as you can see. So let's arrange it. This will be the first verse. And the second guitar that I found was this one. What I did, I put crystalline on it. I think crystalline from Baby Audio is a wonderful reverb plugin. I used the default preset, but I pulled the dry a little bit. So in total, it sounds like this. I also put it a little bit on the left side, just a tiny bit, because I know that the vocals will be centered. I think for the verse, just a straight up vocal, not even something harmonized or something like that, will be cool and will be fitting. In the next step, I add some drums, and since this is the first verse, I don't feel like it needs a lot. Therefore, I added this rim. The processing of this was first an EQ to cut a lot of the highs and quite a lot of the lows, though I think I can do a 24 decibel here. And after that, I put on Neoverb, lowered the dry wet a little bit, and after that, a percussion loop where I also cut more of the highs than before here at the rim. As you can see, I cut less of the highs than here. That is because I wanted them to be a little bit separated. After that, I put the penman so it spins around the field, the stereo field, and crystalline, some basic ambience, and I pulled down the dry wet knob as well. And this is how it sounds. In total, it sounds like this. Pretty nice. Next step, I was adding some synthesizer, not very much, mostly just accent stuff. For example, this hyper or hypha, A Day in Solitude is the preset called. It sounds like this. Then a Jupiter synth. Those act more as like accents. As you can hear, the Jupiter synth is actually panning. So I like the hi-fi accent to be more centered and liked the Jupiter synth to kind of go from the left to the right and then on the second time playing from the right to the left. I just felt like this is some kind of nice, in a way, ear candy. And the third thing I did was I added from Cloud Supply Check My Pulse another synth accent in that way. And yeah, I did that on basically different notes. I did that on a G here for the Jupiter synth, and on the hi-fi accents I did it on an A sharp, and on the other one I did it on an A sharp as well. So it's kind of like on the whole E flat major chord. Now I was adding some cello from Spitfire Studio Strings, and I selected this preset, the long one, and it basically only plays one note after the first half. So when the second half begins, I added one note. And for the processing, I used codec, which is something in the style that Phoebe Bridges sometimes uses on like piano, on strings as well, to give kind of a crushed an analog vibe. After that, I put on some crystalline, simply because it's probably one of my favorite reverb and room plugins. And after that, I cut some of the highs with the stock EQ from Studio One, and the strings itself sound like this. Before, after, and I panned them to the right side, so in the verse, when the center vocal comes, the vocal has its place. And in the last step, I added some excitement to it. First, I added a reverse piano, which I put a delay plugin on to kind of transition into the second half of the first verse. Then I added atmospheric hits on top of the rim, which sounds like this. And I found a vocal transition on Splice, which sounds like this. Now that we are done with the first verse, let's hop on to the next section, the pre-chorus. As for the pre-chorus, there's not a lot going on. So what I added was a guitar, which I didn't even process. And it sounds like this. And then I added a pad, a serum patch that I did, and I will bring it out at one point as a pack. And basically, I also did some automation here so that there's a little bit of a movement and it evolves. Sounds like this. Coming slowly, opening up. And then it just cuts off. And I added, no, there it was. And I also added a bass. I used the Rickenbacker bass and with the preset of Tweetman. And I only did two notes, two sustains. I have it on the D sharp, both. And together it sounds like this. And with this pad, it kind of evolves, and yeah, we have some great room for the vocals there in the pre-chorus. Going lower in intensity and having not many instruments play and not much going on really makes the next section bigger, and that is what I was trying to achieve with the pre-chorus. So basically now what comes will definitely sound bigger. let's hop onto the chorus. So now we come to the chorus, and in the chorus we are obviously stacking up with things. We are stacking up the guitars. We still have the guitars that we used in the first verse, which is the clean one, and the slightly distorted one. And now we're actually adding another guitar, which is another distorted one, which basically plays the same thing as guitar 1. On top of that, we will have now playing a bass, which basically plays just quarter notes. And at the end, a little, in quotes, riff, to make it a little bit more fluid, a little bit more fun, the transition into the repeat. Then we have some orchestral stuff going on. We have some cello, again from Spitfire Studio Strings, this time the preset long. And we have basically the same chords playing, but I deleted the root notes and made some kind of melody on top of it, which sounds kind of pretty by itself. Though I did lots of processing, as you can see, cut a lot of lows and low mids, cut frequencies that I didn't really like, that I found too harsh as well. And on top of that, I also added a bright synth from BA1. It's a preset called Big Bright Pad, which sounds like this. And it plays that exact same thing all the way through. And a very, very big difference is that we have actual drums now in the chorus. And I use Superior Drummer for this. And I just used from the Clean Kits the Gretsch default. And the groove itself sounds like this. Then I put on 2 percussion loops that I did myself that will be in a sample pack at 1 point. And I also added some transition stuff, 1 orchestral transition and 1 crash. And yeah, together it sounds like this. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please make sure to subscribe, to leave a like or comment on this video. Thanks for watching.